the lawn guy decided to do the weed eater right outside my office door, right at that moment. And so, good afternoon, everyone. My name is David Hopkins. I've spoken with many of you before. Also, with me is Shubham, who you've probably spoken to as well. Um, we are, staff members at the Happening Travel Club. I'm main travel agent, and Shubham does everything. So, we could not function without him. Um, so today we're going to be talking about our next trip to Africa. We're going to be going to South Africa for safari. So I'm going to be running the tech stuff, and so Shubham's going to be helping me with the chat. So I'm going to ask Al, who many of you know, he escorts most of my trips. He is a volunteer guide, to go over the trip with you while we run the other things. We will be doing questions and answer at the end. During the stream, if a question pops into your mind, you can see Shubham just typed down there. You can type out any questions you have, and we can answer them if they're important at that moment. Otherwise, we'll save them to the end. Or you'll be able to come in on mic and speak your questions later on if you'd like. So, Al, thank you very much. If you can take over.
Okay. Great. Good morning, everybody. I thank David for this invitation. I live in the Villages. I'm retired. I volunteer a lot. As everyone knows, the Happening Travel Club is a nonprofit, 501c3, not really a travel company. And I don't work for the nonprofit, but I help out in terms of escorting many trips. A lot of travel, as many of you know. I've been to 148 countries. I have escorted to more than 100 countries in the world. Just came back yesterday from the Holland Tulip Festival, and with a group. So I'm very happy to be here. I want to introduce our presentation meeting today for Africa is very special. We have Kathy Simon with us, and Kathy is the co-president of African Welcome Safaris, and
Yes.
will be handling the deluxe upgrade on the safari itself at the Shabuli Lodge, and she is live in Cape Town, South Africa, and I'll be incorporating Kathy in our conversation of what to expect. This meeting is to help everyone understand what a trip to Africa, South Africa specifically, and safari experience will be. We also have Matthew Bowes with us, and he is with a collection of luxury safari lodges in the Kruger National Park region of South Africa, and we're very happy to have him with us because in addition to Kathy's expertise in terms of the tourism, travel logistics, Matthew is actually on the hotel side of the administration of the safari experience, and great experience with that. And he is in Johannesburg live today. So first off, Kathy, Matthew, thank you very much for joining us, and you're getting ready to have people from the Villages and from Florida join you.
It's a pleasure. Good morning, everyone.
Yep. We're looking forward to having everyone there.
Yeah, and we start with I know what every Floridian or people that are participating in our meeting today love about South Africans. First and foremost is your accent. It is quite right.
Thank you. No, and we all speak English very well. I know one of your emails you said, please make sure you can speak English properly, and we do.
Yes, exactly right. All right. Well, so David will guide us through, and I'll just repeat what David indicated, that you'll be able to ask questions live at the end. You can type in messages. Shubham is in this meeting, David is in this meeting, and it'll help us be able to answer many of the questions that you might have on safari. First off, I will be traveling from the Villages on this trip. I have been to Kruger twice, have been to South Africa 5 times, so have good experience to the destination. It is really a world-class experience. I have to say, first and foremost, when the travel club, when Happening Travel Club made the decision that they were going to do this trip, I had some input in their first trip that they planned. You basically you have a number of choices in Africa for a safari experience. I've been to Kenya actually more than I have been to South Africa, but my preference has always been South Africa. The concentration of the variety of big game mammals that you get to see is just quite amazing. And the region of where we're going and being able to do a single stay for 5 days and 4 nights is relatively unusual. The safari experiences I've done in Kenya are much quicker, 1 and 2 nights in different places. And I really very much appreciate being able to have the longer stay in the Kruger region, and then the entry into Johannesburg, and of course a fantastic finish in Cape Town. So it just makes for a wonderful experience to go to South Africa. The Travel Club's trip is August 24 to September 5th in 2027. This anticipates the overnight flight to Johannesburg and the overnight flight from Cape Town on September 5th. So these are the correct dates of travel. Next, David. It's a 13-day itinerary. The all-in with all of the government taxes and fees is $3,999. There is a small upgrade, which you absolutely will want to do. And we'll tell you all about that to the lodge he is associated with for just $199. And the only other additional charge is what your airfare would be from Johannesburg to Cape Town, of which the Travel Club can also help in terms of doing for you. Next, David. Of course, this is escorted. One of the things that I think is really interesting is the way you do safari. And Matthew and Kathy, let me just bring you in and we focus so much. Johannesburg and Cape Town are a bit more self-explanatory. Kathy's going to help us a little more on that. But in talking about the safari, one of the things that is very important, I have done game drives. This trip, by the way, has their morning drives and late afternoon. They're considered evening drives because you're into the dark. But on this trip, you have 8 game drives. And the really importance of that is if you don't want to do a game drive, you don't have to do a game drive. You're coming back or you're staying at the lodge. It gives you more opportunity for animal sites. But one of the things that I wanted to zero in that you see in this picture that is unusual. Many of the Kenyan safaris do not do this in terms of having a spotter. That picture to the right has what we would consider a naturalist guide, and then in that front seat is a spotter. Matthew, Kathy, kind of explain to us first what that experience is of the game drive itself. Now, virtually, I'm sure no one in the meeting has been on safari, and it's really one of the pinnacle travel experiences in the world. So they don't have the experience of what this is like. Why don't we start there of you explaining that to us?
I don't know who wants to start. Matthew, me?
Matthew, why don't you start, and anything you can't answer, I'm happy to jump in.
Okay. So, I mean, I've obviously myself been in the Kruger National Park many times. So obviously you've got your guide itself, and often the guides are also qualified as trackers. So they know how to spot when a lion has been, or a lion pride has been there recently, or any particular animal, because they know how to spot the footprints in the area. And that gives them an expertise to know where to sort of generally look to see where there might be a sighting. Obviously, there never guarantees, but that is actually what the guide and the guy in the front, the tracker, if there's a tracker on the vehicle, they're the ones who actually look at the actual footprints. They can see also just based on animal droppings, if they've been there recently or not been there recently. And it gives them a much better idea of where the actual animal pride is headed, or where they've been, or if they've been there recently. Okay, I don't know if Matthew want to take over because he's more lodge focused.
Yeah, I think maybe just to start from the beginning, I think exactly what you said, Al. The game drive really is the heartbeat of what makes this experience so special. The morning drive starts very early, so you up just before the sun is rising. I think most of the animals, the predators, the lions, the leopards, the wild dogs, are up throughout the night. It's a lot cooler at that time of day. And so the reason that you get up so early is to make sure that you are out there, while these animals are still moving. Kathy's 100% correct. The guide and the tracker are really there to help kind of elevate the experience and make sure that, you've flown this distance, you've come all of this way, and it really is special to see these animals and they're there to make it happen. I think, on the back end, one of the things that you really start to kind of learn when you spend more time out there is that all of these animals are creatures of habit. So, certain leopards like certain trees, certain lions like certain riverbeds. And so these guys really understand exactly how animal movement works. And yeah, I mean, I often spend a lot of time out on the drives myself. And when you compare a real professional versus me who really just loves it, it is incredible what these guys can do. So much of what they see in the bush, you just don't ever understand. They will be able to look at a certain elephant track and understand exactly how old it is, whether it's a male or a female. And part of what they do when you stop really is just to take you through those bush signs and really teach you about how all of those things work. And really the whole thing is meant to fully immerse you in that experience of being in Africa. And so the morning drive really is probably the one that most people miss just because it is early. You're usually up at around 5 o'clock, as I mentioned, just before the sun is coming up. And like I said, you're out there to make sure that you're around when all the animals are still moving. Depending on how the sightings go, you usually stop for some tea and rusks and a famous drink in South Africa called Amarula, which is an alcoholic drink. And if you are on holiday and you want to have some Amarula on safari, it is a traditional thing. And then you carry on game drive, and then the drive in the evening is obviously always very exciting. Again, the reason you drive in the evening is because you want to be out as it starts to cool down. Africa is very hot during the day, and the purpose really is to get out there and be out in the bush when the animals are active. Highlights of the evening drive, aside from having this lion walk past your vehicle and roar, as they're calling their brothers or whoever it happens to be, is obviously the stops in the bush. Whether it's by a waterhole and you have a pod of hippos kind of grunting as the sun goes down, or watching some giraffes cross a dry riverbed, or just sitting and listening to the sounds of the bush as the night closes in. It's a spiritual experience, and really just something that is seared into your brain for the rest of your life. I can't explain to you how once the bush bug bites, it is very, very difficult to get rid of. And it's part of the reason why Kathy's in the industry, why I'm in the industry, really is because it is an experience you'll never, ever forget. So game drives are really an incredible thing. I would advise that you get up for all of them, the morning and the afternoon. And that time of year is a fantastic year for game viewing. I think that right now we've had a lot of rain, and so the bush is very thick, and so it is more difficult to see things. But in that August-September period, it is prime bush time, and with the rain that we've just had, there'll be water, but it also they'll concentrate around the water holes and the rivers, and so you couldn't be coming at a better time of year from an animal standpoint. And I think that's kind of it for now. But sundown is in the bush.
If I could just, sorry.
Yeah, go ahead. No,
if I could just add, I think what's so exciting about being on safari is you never know what's going to happen next. So you might go, you haven't seen anything yet. And suddenly you come across a lion kill. And it's just, you never know what you're going to come across around the next corner. Even you might see not so much meerkats in this area, but even warthogs, with their little tails up. You might see a family of warthogs with their little babies with all their tails up, and it's fascinating. And I think being in an African bush, definitely brings you down to a level of peace that you will never find in the city. Takes you about a day to acclimatize. And then just the sounds of the bush. I don't think one could ever feel more relaxed and with nature as you do when you're in the Kruger National Park and on safari. And just hearing the animal noises at night, it's the most amazing experience. I can never, ever get tired of it.
I
So
know.
honestly,
I know
yeah.
in my visits to Africa for Floridians that go on safari, whether it be in Central Africa or in South Africa, they bring their mindset of the San Diego Zoo or Lion Country Safari in Florida. This is not a zoo experience. This is a vast wilderness. You're not controlling the animals. You're not fencing up the lions so you can see the lions. And
No, you're in their environment, you're in their country, so to speak. And yeah, I mean, I think there's not one of our clients who has traveled, and I've been in this industry for over 20 years, who has not gone back home. And we have a lot of American clients and come back again, because they say once you get the Africa bug, it's probably the only bug that people are happy to get. Okay, unlike COVID. But it lives with you forever, and people come back. We have so many repeat clients because once you've actually experienced that, you want to experience it again. It is life-changing for sure.
Matthew and Kathy, I want to also, before we get into the itinerary, I want to zero in on the idea of the 4 nights. That's relatively, that's highly unusual for many travel products that are done from the villages or Florida, around the world. We push for 3-night stays in places. You go to Paris, and we hope we stay 3 nights. To come to Kruger and to do the safari, talk about the importance of why doing 5 days, 4 nights versus you go on Viator, for example, Viator, and you see so many programs to Kruger from Johannesburg that are 2 days and 1 night. And or maybe 3 days and 2 nights. Kind of explain why this itinerary and staying at the lodge and being on safari, the value of that experience.
Shall I go first, Matthew?
Sure.
Okay, so personally, you must realize when you first arrive in the country, you've had a long flight and you're jet lagged. So it's going to take you a day to actually come down to earth and be in that sort of bush vibe. Okay. And it's hard to explain to you, but I find that 2 nights is definitely too short. 3 nights is fine. But in my mind, 4 nights is optimum, because it's often that last day that you're on safari where you're totally relaxed. You're totally in the whole experience of being in the bush. And it might just be on that last day that you see the leopard or you see the cheetah. You never know. And no game drive is the same. I think Matthew can attest to that. There is not one game drive that's the same. Sorry, my webcam is starting to flip off my computer. I don't think there's one game drive that's the same. So every single game drive you go on, you're very likely to see something and experience something that you never have before. And I think by the time you leave, I really do not think 4 nights is too much. I could spend 7 nights in the Kruger, which I have before. A lot of people do 3 nights, and it's more time constraints, but the 4th night could be the magic day. It could be that day that you see something that you would regret if you hadn't stayed that extra day.
Yeah. Matthew, anything you want to add to that on staying 4 nights at your lodge?
Yeah, I mean, just to echo what Kathy's saying there, all of the guests that come to Krongwe that are even there for 5 nights wish they were there for 6 or 7. And I think really it is just such a mind-blowing experience. And there are so few kind of immersive, life-changing things like it that, to be there anything less than 3 or 4 days, you're just not doing it justice. And, I think one of the great things about Krongwe is that our game viewing is excellent. So, the chances of you seeing the big 5, of seeing cheetah, of seeing wild dog, is really, really good. But still, it almost doesn't feel like enough. And so I can assure you, like you will be completely captivated. There's absolutely no reason to think why even 4 nights would be enough. But at the end of the day, you have to end it at some point. But it just is such a mind-blowing experience that, like I said, even people who stay for 5 or 6 nights, I mean, we often have tours that run for 7 and people still just want to stay. So the longer you're there, the better, I can assure you.
No, I agree with that. I mean, I've done the Kruger National Park. We've done a week. You never get tired of it.
Yeah.
You literally see something different every day. It might not even be something to do with the big 5. It might be something to do with the little 5, like the dung beetle, But you learn something every day, and every day you experience something new and you see something new. And you can never get enough of it, I assure you.
Thank you. That's very clear, and I completely agree with what both of you said.
Somebody has just asked, how long are the drives, typically speaking?
So they're about 2.5, 3 hours, right? Depending on what you see. Yeah.
Yeah. So the morning drive starts. We wake you up at 5 at that time of year, so it is an early start. The drive goes off at 5:30, and you're usually back for breakfast at about 9. So yeah, about 3.5 hours, and then the afternoon starts at 3 o'clock, and you're usually back at around 6:30. Again, it just depends on temperature and light. Obviously, there is something quite magical about the evening drive. So you might wander onto a leopard on your way back to the lodge and spend an extra half an hour just following him down a road. And so it can go a little bit longer, but typically around 3 hours. Yeah.
One of the things that I wanted to, for all of our members participating in this online presentation, I have done, as I said, in Kenya, I moved 4 times in a week, 1 night, 2 night, 1 night, 2 night. And it's a completely different experience. I'm just telling you from my experience to go to Kruger and have a 4-night stay. When Matthew and Kathy are saying that you fall into the rhythm of safari, it is code word. They speak these words all of the time and maybe even sometimes forget the real meaning behind them. The meaning behind, I'm just echoing what I hear them say, in that you'll fall into a pattern where you'll want to do the morning drive because you get caught up in it, and you're not worrying about packing your bag and moving on again. And that's the real important thing at Kruger. The other thing I wanted to ask both of you about before we get into the itinerary itself, the day by day of the entire trip, is I wanted you to comment on age. The Villages is the largest 55 plus active lifestyle community in the entire world, about 225,000 residents. We speak for a generation, and the participants in this meeting are that. Talk about what it is like for you to be 70 and older. To come to Kruger and do safari. What do you think about older people coming to do this?
We have all ages going on safari. You're not hiking Mount Kilimanjaro, so you're very comfortable. I even had a 77-year-old woman who actually hiked Mount Kilimanjaro last year. So. You're well looked after. So the lodges, we inform them of any medical conditions you may have, any dietary requirements you may have. You're not doing long walks or anything. If you have a problem walking and you want to be in a room closest to the main lodge, we ensure that. So yeah, you're well looked after. And we have a lot of people in the latter stages of their life traveling. And we cater for all the lodges cater for absolutely everyone. So if there's anything that we need to know to let the lodge know about, whether you're diabetic and you need to keep your insulin in a fridge, or whether you have problems walking, or whatever the case might be, or whether you've got celiac or you've got dietary requirements, everything's catered for. And I mean, honestly, I'm sure Matthew will attest to it. I think on safari, there's a lot more of the 50s plus generation traveling, because that's when they've got the time and they've got the money and they're more relaxed and they don't have small kids with them. So it's very popular with the older generation, absolutely.
I mean, just to give you guys a little bit of context, my father is 73, and he pretty much lives out there, and he loves every single second of it. So, you know, just to echo again what Kathy said there, I think the majority of the guests that we have coming through Shiduli are over 55. And so, you know, that is primarily the kind of age group that we cater for. And so, yeah, absolutely, there's no problem from an age standpoint.
One other thing that I want to help members draw attention to in terms of what I just heard, you hear Kathy say it. Going to Shiduli and to Kruger for the 5 days, 4 nights is probably for Africa as close as you can get to our cruise ship experience in Florida. It is very inclusive when you stay. The meals are included. It is not as much as a hotel experience as a cruise ship experience. And the reason I draw that attention to you is one of the values of getting to meet Kathy and getting to meet Matthew is this is a destination that is very different than most of the destinations that we travel to. The Marriott Hotel is not really fundamentally involved or really interested in getting involved in the travel experience. That is not what is happening here. Kathy is working with Matthew, and Matthew is working with Kathy as the operator of the logistics and the planning of the trip with the operator of the logistics and delivery on Safari. And that is really important. And the reason it's really important to you is it gives you a much better experience as opposed to a hotel stay. You're not checking into a more clinical kind of, here's our hotel room, and they have a restaurant and they have housekeeping, but that's it. That's not what is happening here. So again, it's why we're very happy that Kathy and Matthew are joining us from Johannesburg and Cape Town today. Let's move on. There'll be many number of other things that we travel into. So David, if you can advance us, please. It includes 11 nights accommodations. We are going to stay in Johannesburg for a total of 3 nights, in Kruger region for 4 nights, and then in Cape Town for 4 nights. Johannesburg is actually broken up because we fly into Johannesburg, and as Kathy said, you're adjusting to a long flight. It is quite a significant journey to South Africa from Florida, wherever in the states you will be coming from, and we'll actually stay 2 nights in Johannesburg to accommodate, because we want you to be rested when we leave to go to for Safari. Then we'll travel to Kruger and stay 4 nights, and then we come back to Johannesburg. We will stay 1 more night. Many of the tours, again, if you look at Viator, they're doing travel from Kruger to Johannesburg and then fly to Cape Town the same evening. We're not going to do that. That's too much. And then it's fine for those that want that, but that's not what we want for our travel club members. So we'll stay another night in Johannesburg and then fly to Cape Town and stay 4 nights in Cape Town. Next, David. Shibuli, which is who Matthew represents, the stay for the 3-star stay, you have a choice of 3-star and 4-star. Shibuli is all-inclusive, and it is the 4-star choice. If you want the 3-star, it does 1 dinner and breakfast, but it's not all-inclusive. And from my seat as escort, I highly recommend the 4-star upgrade, because it'll move you from 3-star hotels to 4-star in Johannesburg, 3-star to 4-star in Cape Town, and of course the all-inclusive upgrade at Shiduli, which is quite outstanding. Next.
It's definitely worth it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely worth it. Comprehensive sightseeing, we've already talked about sightseeing in Johannesburg, sightseeing in Cape Town, and then 8 game drives. A lot of people, when we look at the itinerary, you're going to travel scenic trip from Johannesburg, surface private group transportation for the club and members to Kruger and the Shiduli Lodge, and then you'll have a game drive that day that you arrive. And on the morning of your departure, on last day on safari, you'll have a morning game drive before we return to Johannesburg. So it's very comprehensive. Next. And by the way, wait, let's go back one. Matthew, Kathy, because I know we have some people thinking it right now, and I know we will have many questions about safety. That picture there with the lion, anything that you want to say in terms of people's concern, is this safe?
No, as far as, and I think Matthew would agree with me here, animals don't see people as people in a vehicle. They just see the vehicle. And the vehicles are actually set up sort of staggered. And when you're actually in the vehicle, you're actually safe. You're not going to stick your hands and legs out and get out the vehicle, because then the animal or the lion will actually see you. But as far as I understand, I've always realized is that the animals, especially the big game, see you as an object, a big object. And that's why when you come up close to a lion, you're not all going to start shrieking and laughing, because it's going to draw attention to yourself. You keep very quiet and you just watch them. They're not actually interested in you.
Right.
As long as you don't, you're not going to get out your vehicle and start running across the bush, in which case it's your problem.
Which we're not going to do.
But the animals themselves aren't like actively interested in you. They just see a shape in a vehicle. They don't even know what you are. You just sit quietly in your vehicle and you watch the animals.
Yep. I mean, yeah. So, I mean, exactly right. I think one of the things that will surprise all of you is how close you will get to these animals. The guides obviously are professional. They've done this for decades and generations in some instances. And so they position the vehicle in a way where if they know a lion is in the area and they know it likes a certain place, when the lion walks past the vehicle, it is completely safe. I mean, as you can see in that picture, that's no more than 3 or 4 meters away. But exactly as Kathy said, they see the vehicle as one solid object. So when you get in on the drive, the first thing that the guides will do is say, don't break the kind of what's it called, the kind of the shape of the vehicle. So you sit, you keep quiet.
Don't wave your arms around, stick them out the car.
Yeah, don't make a noise. But it is completely safe. But I think, I mean, and this is part of the part that, really you just will never forget. When a lion walks past you and you see those yellow eyes, it is 100% safe, but it stays with you forever. And it's part of what makes it so magic. It's the real difference between, the self-drive that you get in the Kruger Park and the private reserves that you have on the edge of it, is that you're able to get so close while it's being safe, and it's really run by a professional. So we also limit all of our sightings to 2 vehicles per sighting. So it's never busy. You always have the animals to yourself. There's a lot of kind of videos out of East Africa of, hundreds of vehicles chasing, a mother cheetah. That just doesn't happen in South Africa. We're very cognizant of how to manage these experiences. And like I said, we limit it to 2 vehicles per sighting. So it is very intimate and completely safe.
Yeah.
And a lot of the time, you'll get a pride of lions with the babies, and they won't just sit there for 2 minutes. So if 2 vehicles leave, they're probably going to be there for hours still. I've gone on a game drive before and come back 3 hours later and they're still lying in the same spot. So it gives everyone that opportunity to have a very valid, authentic experience with the game viewing, and not hundreds of people trying to get to see the vehicle, the lion, and take pictures. It's very, very, if I could use the word exclusive.
Yeah.
It's not a line of cars trying to see and long cameras snapping it, which almost destroys the experience. It is very exclusive.
Yeah, I want to add, in terms of all of our members' understanding of Kathy and Matthew's explanation, there is a degree of intimacy in this experience that is quite spectacular. I was at Denali National Park in Alaska years ago, and was on a ridge and watched below me with a small group that I was with, a pack of wolves chasing a caribou. And I could watch it for, probably 30, 40 seconds as the pack was chasing. They caught the caribou, brought the caribou down. It was thrilling to watch, but it was probably a mile, not that far, let's say a half a mile away. You contrast that experience, which was thrilling, to this experience. It's an intimacy of experience, not loud, not noisy. I loved Matthew's reference. It's almost spiritual. It is so intimate.
I agree.
Wonderful description. David, next. Meals included in Johannesburg and Cape Town. Every breakfast is included, and welcome dinner in each time you move. And then in Kruger, if you do the 3-star, breakfast is included and a welcome dinner. Of course, when you upgrade to Matthew's property, it's all inclusive. Of which, well, no, let's talk about that right now, actually, since we're here. Kind of describe what the dining experience is at Shibuli.
I'll let Matthew take over here.
So we try, for the most part, we acknowledge that our travelers are Western, and so the cuisine is Western. I have 3 siblings who live in the US, and so I've spent quite a lot of time in your beautiful country, and so it's nothing that will scare you guys. You can come, you can drink the water, I can promise you. We do provide bottled water as part of the experience anyway, but we like to mix and match it. We don't like you sitting in a dining hall and not having your feet in the sand. We'll definitely make a plan to do a couple of bush experiences where you have a bush breakfast or a bush dinner. Obviously we'll speak to Kathy about that, and I can tell you that is an experience that you will never forget. We definitely put in a flavor of African cuisine in there. So, whether it's pap or the chakalaka that goes on it, or the meat that we braai, not barbecue. We have Bowmanites, which are incredible. We try to mix it up a lot, but like I said, I think the most important part here is that there's not going to be anything funny that makes you feel uncomfortable. Most of it, 99% of it, you'll recognize. And I can tell you the chef takes a lot of care in making sure that it's done correctly. We have a 7-day menu to make sure that everything is fresh. An executive chef that oversees all of that. Everything is seasonal. We update the menus for winter and for summer. So you guys will kind of be getting either the end of the winter menu or the beginning of the summer menu. But the lovely thing about the Kruger area is that we have an incredible produce from that area. So, whether it's, the farms around us, everything is fresh, locally sourced, and incredible quality as well. So, food is something we never have any problems with, and I'm quite certain you'll enjoy it.
Matthew, and just to explain what a Bowman is.
Yeah, that's right. I was going to do the same thing. Explain.
It's an art, particularly outside under the stars, and it's cooking or cooking the food outside is a very communal kind of experience. Under the stars with a big fire, you get really involved with seeing the night sky. Am I explaining it correctly, Matthew? So you're sitting outside. It's very sort of interactive. You can talk to everyone else about what game you saw that day, what did you see on your game drive. You probably will experience a little bit more of South African cuisine there, because our, as we call them, braais or barbecues, are very popular in South Africa. But it's a nice way of eating dinner. You're outside, you can see the stars, and because you're in the bush, the stars are beautiful. You don't have city lights skewing that experience. Sky in the Kruger and in that sort of vicinity, and you can hear the sounds of the bush. You can often at night you'll hear hyenas, all the night and the nocturnal animals while you're outside. And when you're outside, the animals are not wandering around. You're very safe, just in case that question comes up. But it's very, very good, very good experience.
Just a quick recap. When you upgrade to the 4-star and you're staying at Shibuli, you have a traditional snack before game drive or in game drive. You come back for the breakfast buffet. Lunch is done in the afternoon. Before afternoon game drive, you have tea, tea with some food, and game drive, and then you come back for dinner. So again, think of your safari experience at Shibuli like a cruise ship. You're going on a 4-night cruise from Port Canaveral, and with all kinds of bells and whistles that are more positive than being on a cruise ship. You'll like that. Next, David.
There was some brief conversation in the chat about safety. Thank you, Jade. And as Deborah mentioned, these are very curated experiences with professionals. You are in much more danger driving down I-4 through Orlando than you are on these safaris. I'm sure Kathy and Matthew can attest to their safety record. But
Matthew, somebody specifically asked, can you just describe with your lodge at the preserve, just general your impressions on safety over the last number of years, or whatever you would like to explain.
So, guys, if the question is about animals, we have never had an incident in 15 years. We have 6 lodges that we operate in the reserve. Tens of thousands of people come through there on a yearly basis. There is absolutely there's no reason to be afraid from an animal perspective, I can assure you. The lodge is fully fenced. We have people that escort you to your room at night, not that you need it. You have more, and I saw someone there asked about vaccines. It is in a what's called a kind of like a barrier malaria area, but we've had one case in 20 years. So
it's very low risk area, very low risk.
I can tell you, I have a 6-year-old and a 4-year-old. I go to Karongwe every single month. None of us ever take anything, and I've been doing it for 38 years. So never had malaria, never had any scary experiences. You are with professionals who have grown up in the bush, live it, they breathe it. They know exactly how to manage animals when they're in any type of environments, and I can assure you now, everything that sorry, I can't remember who said that about you driving in Orlando. No. I can assure you are safer in these game lodges than you are almost anywhere in the world.
No, I have to agree with that. Totally agree.
Yeah,
it's very, very safe, and I think all our clients, and I'm not just talking about the Kruger, I'm talking about Cape Town, Johannesburg, because we do the whole of Southern Africa. I have not had one client from the US who hasn't gone home and said, we are not going to believe the media ever again. Everybody is absolutely enchanted with the people of South Africa, the experiences here. They've never felt unsafe. And I promise you that is exactly how you will feel when you return from South Africa.
I just have to echo, in all of my visits, I completely agree with that statement. One other thing I wanted to make sure that I ask about in terms of the drives, the game drives. Somebody asked about perfumes, scents. Will you have any recommendations in terms of colognes, perfumes, etc.? What do you think about them?
Well, I personally, Matthew could maybe answer it more from an animal perspective, but the general common sense when you go on a game drive is muted colors, not over the top. I don't think a lion would particularly care if you wore a cologne, but probably better not to. You're not there to impress anyone. You're going to do the game view and you're going to see the animals. So, the thing is with going on safari, you're in the bush. It's dress for comfort. You don't have to dress up. I don't think wearing a cologne is a big issue. I don't think an animal would even recognize what it was, to be honest. I don't know, Matthew could maybe...
exactly right. Yeah, we always recommend, not that you're going to be off the vehicle. You will stop for drives. If you decide to do walks, which we offer, we have a whole bunch of activities. I saw someone said there, we do hot air ballooning. We do a whole bunch of things. We have helicopter flips through the Blyder River Canyon, which is the 3rd biggest canyon in the world. We do hot air ballooning. We do guided walks in the reserve. If you are going to walk, then we always say don't wear white or black. Most of these animals are colorblind, and so you'll see like when a cheetah or a lion walks in the bush, their tails are black so that their cubs can follow them. And the reason is that black sticks out in the bush for these animals. So if you are going to go on a walk, don't wear black. You're much easier to see. But again, those are all guided with professionals. I highly advise going on a bush walk if that's something that you're interested in. Again, a different type of experience. You're not necessarily looking for the big things. It's more of the small stuff. When you're on a trail, they show you the tracks and how everything works, and definitely something to look at. We have a whole bunch of activities which you guys should definitely look at. But in terms of cologne, what to wear, I'm sure Kathy's given you guys a pretty good idea. Obviously make sure you've got hats and sunblock, binoculars, that type of thing. But in terms of what you wear, guys, it's because you're going to be on the vehicle. You can pretty much do what you want.
And I always say to my clients when they ask about how to dress, because August, September is winter, but the temperatures in the Kruger are very different to the temperatures in Cape Town. Now, I live in Cape Town. So in Cape Town, our winters it's rainy season in Cape Town and it's colder. Whereas in the Kruger, it can be very cold early in the morning, but can get pretty hot during the day. So I always say to people, you dress in layers. So you can peel off clothes as it gets hotter. And then in reverse, in your afternoon game drives going into the evening, it can really be hot to the point that in winter there you can swim. But at night it gets really cold. So you once again dress in layers so you can pile on the beanies and the jackets or whatever at night. And comfort is key in the Kruger. You don't have to dress up all fancy. You're at a lodge, literally go there to be comfortable, wear comfortable shoes. You don't have to bring your evening gowns or your jackets. It's really it's casual, and it's all about comfort.
I should also
on a game drive,
I should also add all of these related detail questions, shots, clothing, the layered clothing notes, the things that are recommended to bring, etc., and so on. This trip from the Travel Club is unique in that there are going to be multiple social events. And so over the course of the next year, leading up to going to Africa, we will have social events in the villages. And when we meet, we will be going through lots of the newest, latest information about the trip, recommendations on the trip, and many of the questions that you're asking now. We will also have several potluck dinners where we will all get together on a social basis. And the whole goal of this is not only to provide very good information. This is a trip of a lifetime experience. For the vast majority of you, will be your first time to Africa, or your first time to Kruger, first time safari, etc. And we will want to do our best to make sure that everybody knows everybody before we go. And so we will travel as a small group family. And if you are not able to participate in those meetings, the Travel Club will do an interesting broadcast similar to this meeting, frankly, on YouTube. And it'll be a private channel where those participating in the trip will be able to participate in YouTube remotely. So lots of information to come.
And Cindy, these socials won't be planned in places that are restricted to village residents. So anyone in the area would be able to go to them.
Yes, that's right. Exactly. Okay, I'm going to move us on, David. Let's move. Of course, all of the transportation and everything that is required is included transportation-wise. We always have confusion about arrival and departures. You handle your own airfare. You want to handle your own airfare. I just flew yesterday. I was flying last Monday on Spirit and was notified the day before about the closure of Spirit. And you want to be in control of your own air. And certainly true to going to Africa. You're going to fly into Johannesburg and fly out of Cape Town. So regardless of the times of your flights, it makes no difference at all. 24 hours a day, Travel Club is going to provide your arrival transfer, your departure transfer, and then all of your transfers related to the trip, sightseeing and transfers for the event. Next, David. Showing you just very quickly the routing on the trip. You can see at about in the middle, in the upper third, you can see Johannesburg. That's where you will fly in to Johannesburg. You will stay 2 nights in Johannesburg and then to Kruger for 2 nights. This map doesn't show you actually the precision location of your stay, but you go to the northwest, then from the Kruger region back to Johannesburg for 1 night. If you would like, the travel club will handle your airfare, or you can do it yourself. Johannesburg to Cape Town on the southern tip of Africa, and then you'll do 4 nights in Cape Town. Next. Now we're going to move through the itinerary a little faster than our conversation has been so far, because we wanted so much information from Matthew and Kathy. There's multiple choices of flights. It's far too early to talk about airfare. But in general, to Africa, we're waiting to see what happens with South African Airlines. Many of my trips in the past have been with SAA, but they have had difficulty of recent years since COVID, so we don't really know. There are many good choices: KLM through Amsterdam, Turkish Air through Istanbul, both Qatar and Emirates through Qatar, or UAE, and varieties of other choices. Johannesburg is a major international airport, as is Cape Town, so there's really not much difficulty in terms of arranging flights. It's an overnight to Johannesburg. On day 2, arriving in Johannesburg, we will meet. That's where I will meet you, and we'll have a welcome dinner party. It's quite a long day. It helps begin to adjust for the jet lag. The reason we're doing 2 nights in Johannesburg is we don't want the travel the next day to Kruger. When you go to Kruger to the safari, you'll be very fresh. Day 3. We'll do sightseeing in Johannesburg on our first full day in Africa. On day 3, breakfast included. Of course, your accommodations are included. Next. On day 4, we will travel from Johannesburg to Kruger. Today's journey, it's about 5.5 hours stops. It's a leisurely day up to the lodge that you're staying at for safari. Kathy, anything you want to say about the travel day from Johannesburg up to Kruger?
Well, obviously, we're not just going to expect you to drive. We all stop along the way, toilet stops to get snacks, etc. And depending on the final amount of people who book the trip will depend on the size of the vehicle. But you'll all be in one vehicle, okay? You won't be split. So we'll book the appropriate size vehicle, and it'll be a private coach that will take you to the Kruger.
This is very important, by the way, because when you look at some of the booking sites for reservations, Safari Transportation, there are 2 principal companies, provide transportation for Johannesburg Airport to the different lodges at Kruger. It is, in my opinion, a bit chaotic. It's completely fine on an individual basis. It's quite good for individuals, but the level of service is not exactly what Kathy will be able to deliver for the group. And so that private transportation is very, very important, because it means bathrooms are elevated in terms of our desire. Our stops, our rest, etc., are all are included in the decision making. So all of our guests will be traveling together on that transfer. And Cindy, you'll ask that question again, because it went too quick for me, so I missed it. And we'll continue, David. Now, we've arrived in Kruger. We've done our first game drive, and on day 4, we will how to reserve the tour. Yeah, okay, now I understand. I'll be sure and get to that. And then we begin to fall into the safari pattern. We'll do our second game drive. It'll be our first morning drive on day 5. And then back for breakfast, and then we will have lunch, then tea in the afternoon, then the game drive for the evening drive back to the lodge for dinner. And basically our days will do that. Kathy and Matthew will be offering additional services that you can do. They've mentioned the balloon flight. There is quite an outstanding canyon day trip. There's rehabilitative centers that are very interesting in the region. There's a number of things to do. And the reason that's important to you is Matthew and the Shiduli Lodge could have a home run on the first day, and you just see so much wildlife that you go, oh yeah, I've seen that. And maybe I want to take this day to do this, or I want to take this morning to do this, or this afternoon to do this. The reason I think that that is valuable is my experience in escorting to more than 100 countries and traveling to more than 148 countries is choice is king. And we want to make sure you do exactly what you want to do. No one's going to tell you how to do or have this experience. I love all of the words I've heard so much. The intimacy, and it's a spiritual experience. And how you get to that is totally up to you.
So splinters off the group can do something different. If somebody says, I don't want to do a game drive tomorrow, I'd rather go on a helicopter flip over the Bladder River Canyon, or I'd rather do a hot air ballooning, then you can. It's nothing's cast in stone in that respect. And I will supply all with descriptions of all of that and pricing.
Yeah, exactly. Day 6, another day in the safari pattern, and now we're fully into it. Day 7. Another day of animal sightings. I don't, to be honest with you, I'm sure a number of you have been to the San Diego park at the San Diego Zoo. It's quite an exciting experience. Lion Country Safari here in Florida, and we have different kinds of parks like that, attractions, more complex than just simple zoo and caged pens. I think I want to echo Matthew and Kathy's comments. You're not going to take this for granted. Even after you've seen the animals that you've seen, every time you go out on a game drive is going to be exciting for you of what potentially is getting ready to happen. So sitting here in Florida or wherever you're watching right now, you may think, oh, well, this might get old or mundane. It will not get old. It's just not going to happen. On day 8, then we're going to do a morning drive, have breakfast, and then after that, we'll be traveling back to Johannesburg. Another scenic drive back to the city. It is possible to fly, but I like the choice of the surface. The flight is the flight. It's fast and it's quick. In my opinion, not particularly interesting, and you get to see a bit more of South Africa. We'll come back to Johannesburg. Thank you for that, and we'll stay one more night, and then on day 9 we'll fly from Johannesburg to Cape Town. Now, this is a completely different experience. I'm going out on the limb to tell you. I went, please trust me, of traveling on the continent. Cape Town is a crown jewel of Africa. Where Kathy is living is just a stunningly beautiful city, period, the end.
Yeah.
It is beautiful, and it doesn't get its due for Americans. We all know of Cape Town, we've heard of Cape Town, but at the southern tip, it is one of the best wine regions in the world. The mountain ranges on the southern coast, to see the penguins, the culture, the food. It is just a fantastic city, 4 nights is totally worthwhile in Cape Town. There's so much to see, to do. We'll have a welcome party, but in terms of the focus of Cape Town, Kathy, you're sitting there right now talking to us
Yes.
from Cape Town. Anything in particular you would say about your city?
Okay, well, I mean, it would take a lot for me to leave Cape Town. It literally, I mean, I often probably take it for granted, but when I actually take stock and I actually go for a drive in my car and I actually see the beauty around me, we are very blessed to live here. I mean, you've got absolutely everything you can imagine: scenery, history, culture. It is absolutely gorgeous. You've got Table Mountain, obviously, which is iconic to Cape Town. You've got the Winelands, you've got Cape Point. It's just so diverse. And in fact, Cape Town's been voted as one of the best cities in the world numerous times.
Yeah.
So you cannot not be amazed by Cape Town. And it's just so different to the Kruger, which is why South Africa is actually a huge destination for the film industry in America, because they can literally fly 1 hour or 2 hours and it looks like they're in a different country. That's how diverse South Africa is.
Yeah.
So Cape Town is a very, very good addition, and it actually works really well with the Kruger, and it's very close and very accessible to each other. And most of our clients do that combination.
Yeah. And Matthew, you live in Johannesburg?
Yes, but I was a university student in Cape Town, and I've actually just been there for a trade show. And even as a Joburger, every time you see it, it just never gets old. You like wonder why you don't live in Cape Town, but it is, I've also been lucky to travel to Rio and all different parts of the world, and there is just nothing like it. I mean, when you see it and you see the clouds kind of coming over the mountains, it just is a incredibly special place.
Yeah, it was funny. I don't know if everybody heard Matthew at the beginning of our meeting when I remarked that he was in Johannesburg and Kathy in Cape Town, and Matthew immediately said, "Yeah, unfortunately." It's I heard you, Matthew. It's very interesting though, because when you go to South Africa, it really is 3 different places. I want to echo what Kathy. Johannesburg is the huge city. It's very, very large. It is the political powerhouse of South Africa, and much of what we watched in the last 40 years on apartheid and the politics that went on race relations in South Africa was based in Johannesburg. And it is worth seeing and interesting for all of us who traveled the world to see Johannesburg. Then the safari experience in Kruger for 5 days, and having the leisure, spiritual, intimate experience at Kruger, and then to finish in Cape Town. It really is a magical itinerary because you're doing 3 different things that are dramatically different from each other. So you're going to a destination that is just going to continue to amaze you because you're not doing the same thing. And it's very hard for a country to be able to deliver that. It's very hard to get from, well, no, I'm not even going to disparage other destinations. It's just very difficult to be distinct and different. And South Africa does that. And Cape Town, is the conclusion of this trip, is really quite outstanding. Sightseeing included, of course, on day 10. You see the penguins, by the way. It's so fun because it's not something that you naturally think about. One of the things I'm very excited to do, my last trip, I got tied up, and I, at the last minute, made a change in a modification of my itinerary and lost a day, but I'm going to pick it up on this trip. I am going to do the cage dive with the great whites.
Oh, yeah.
From Cape Town. So go join me with the great white sharks. It'll be fun.
As long as you don't get seasick.
Right.
I've realized I'm not a boat person.
Right, exactly. Another day in Cape Town, and then to day 12, and in sightseeing, and then to 13.
I really love penguins. That's why all the pictures.
Yeah. I do too. And then your departure on day 13, it's an overnight flight out of Cape Town back to the United States on day 14. Now, let me just briefly say, before we go to this, in terms of flights, we are looking at the possibility of Victoria Falls and doing a pre-tour that would come to Johannesburg. This is a destination that is really prime for a pre and a post day. On your flights, because of the distance of travel to Johannesburg and Cape Town, there are many good choices for you, and so we're looking at a number of opportunities for you because of the region that you're in. Now, on day 15. On the next slide, we just want to highlight and show you some of the pictures of the cruise ship concept at Kruger National Park.
Cruise ship in the bush.
Yes, in the bush. Very large, 22,000 acres where this property is situated. I wanted to ask you, Matthew, in terms of the experience, many Floridians, many Americans think about a safari lodge. First off, let's get it right off the table. It's not a Marriott or a Hilton. It's not designed to be a Marriott or a Hilton hotel. But many Americans are also surprised after they do it of the quality of the delivery of a four-star safari lodge. Kind of talk about that, of what the bedroom, your room is going to be like, and what the feel at the lodge is going to be. First off, Shiduli it's only like 30 rooms, isn't it? 25 rooms, something like that.
Yes, yeah. So it's 30 rooms. So so the way that it's styled is really an authentic bush camp. Anyone who spent time in Limpopo, which is essentially the state where Karongwe is, will immediately recognize the decor, how everything's put together. Very clean and airy. Obviously we absolutely pride ourselves in terms of the service. The local people there are Venda, which is the tribe based in that area, and I can just tell you that they were born for tourism. Just enormous hearts, smiles, incredible people. We manage the lodges very tightly from a data perspective, so we understand exactly what's going on from a review standpoint. And I think the one thing that shines above everything else really is the experience of guests with the people. So whether it's the rangers, all of them are storytellers. They will make you laugh. Just really nice, humble people. And then, just in terms of the lodge itself, it's beautifully appointed. From a space standpoint, you never ever feel like you're on top of anyone. There's lots of space to kind of have your own space. It just is a very relaxed atmosphere. Time, they always say time moves slowly in the bush. It really does. 10 minutes feels like an hour, and it's supposed to be like that. I'm trying to think what else. I mentioned that it was fenced. That's not to say that, we've had cheetah around the lodge recently. There's 3 male cheetah that like to hunt. You don't have to worry about them. They're fine, but you will feel immersed in the bush as soon as you arrive there. The people really go out of their way to kind of make you feel at home. And there's not much else I can say except that I think, like I said, I think the people will really surprise you. They just are, like I said, born to do this. They'll be so excited to have you.
So, and if I can say something, if people look at I presume they can see the pictures I'm looking at.
Yeah.
Whenever I've been to one of the private lodges, I love the way they do the rooms in the Kruger, where you've always got the 4-poster bed with the mosquito net, very out of Africa, and the thatch, and it's just so Africa. And even though it's fenced, you can see if you look outside, there's a deck. You can still see into the bush. At night, you can hear the animal noises. You can see the eyes lit up of the hyenas at night if they come up to the fence. You really, really feel the experience in every formal manner.
Yeah.
Yep.
And just the whole style of the rooms when you're on safari, it's gorgeous. They're absolutely gorgeous.
One of the clue words that I hope members were listening to there, which I echo again. For me, I think one of the special experiences of this trip is, again, the intimacy and of the experience. And the intimacy is with the people that you're going to meet. Because when you're staying at Shiduli, all of your meals are included, tracker, guides, the people that are cleaning the rooms. It's a small safari lodge of just 30 rooms. We are going to make up a very large portion of it. And our experience over the 5 days becomes a very intimate group that travels from the United States, the villages especially. And we interact with another very intimate group of people which are running this lodge. And it's sauce for the goose. It just makes the experience so great in that you're not in a big industrial event. And your 5 days at Kruger becomes exceptionally special because of it. Matthew used the word spiritual right from the very beginning, and I keep drawing attention to everyone back to what he is trying to tell you, because he breathes that, he believes that, and that's because it's true. And I'm telling you, in the size of this lodge and the quality of the lodge, of who is running the lodge, it's not the bed that's so important, although the bed is important. It's all of the people that are running the bed and the car and the guiding and the food, etc. And
you'll make friends with your rangers. I promise you. You'll want to keep in touch with them. It's like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I just saw a question on power. So we run off the main grid, which is the national power producer. For a while now, it's very, very stable. So we never anticipate any issues with power, but if there is issues with power, we have backup generators. So we have power 24 hours a day, and no one has to worry about that.
Yeah, so just for anybody who's not in the meeting watching this later, anybody here, remember that this isn't camping. You're in the bush, but you are in a luxury lodge. They have all the amenities that you would need, and as they mentioned before, if you have insulin and you need refrigeration, they can assist with all that. So you're not going to be you're not going to be stuck in the middle of the woods in the dark at any point. This is a beautiful property.
Right.
And
you'll feel pampered. You'll feel pampered, I promise you.
Yeah.
There's a spa on site, so if you want to have a massage,
you can have a massage. So that really tells you
everything.
And
they're really good hospitals close by. We're actually very civilized here, I promise you. Very, very civilized.
Matthew, somebody asked about adapters. Our power in the U.S., what do they need at Shiduli?
Yeah, they'll need to bring an adapter for an American plug. I would advise it anyway. We do have some at the lodge, just for people who may have forgotten. But, when you're on a trip like this and you're in multiple destinations and moving, I'd always suggest that you just, go to the local travel shop, wherever it happens to be, and get an adapter. But yeah, we do keep them. But it's usually for someone who may have forgot. I don't think we keep them for every room, but I just always suggest bring an adapter, just because you're going to be moving, and it just is easy for you to use them.
And we would let everybody know exactly what you need before departure. We'll have lots of opportunity to let everybody have time to purchase those kinds of things, get the visas if you want to. You mentioned Madagascar. South Africa itself doesn't need them. Like we would make sure to communicate everything you would need beforehand.
All right, and the next slide, David. Of course, we've talked about the wildlife. Wait, go back one. The picture in the upper right, I just think is just a fabulous picture. Just absolutely fabulous.
I love elephants. They're one of my favorite creatures.
Yeah, I love elephants. I do too. Next, David. The reason I think this is an important picture is we often have misconception, as we were saying, about what the experience is being. David gives us the clue. This is not camping. in the way that we think of camping in Florida. Beautiful pool, and the upper right in terms of dining outdoors. Hopefully, we'll be able to do as much of that as possible because it's a really unique experience as opposed to what you would have in a traditional dining room. We'll do that in Johannesburg. We'll do that in Cape Town. In Kruger, we hope to eat outdoors as much as possible. It makes for the experience to be very special.
Next. I see somebody keeps on asking about shots. You do not need vaccinations to come to South Africa at all. No, nothing.
None. No shots.
Don't let any travel clinic tell you you do. You do not need vaccinations.
That's
nothing.
Right. That's right.
Okay.
And when we start the socials, we'll go through that very close. We make the notation here. We've echoed Matthew and Kathy. I think have been very clear on this. 5 days is really the sweet spot on a safari. I personally am talking to you not as Kathy has an interest because of the travel business that she runs in Africa. Matthew has interest because of the lodges he runs in Kruger. I do not have that interest. So I can tell you from personal experience, I have been on many safari experiences that are 2 night, 1 night, 2 night, 1 night. They're fine and they're outstanding. This is a unique opportunity to hit the sweet spot. 5 days, 4 nights with the Johannesburg stay, which is different, and then the Cape Town finish, which is different. This is in my opinion, the absolute best and right way to do this. Next. Now, this is a joke. The Big Five guaranteed. You're guaranteed for the Big Five, almost. This is not a zoo, and we make that joke. Kathy and Matthew have been very clear on this. It is not a zoo, but your chances are dramatic. They're dramatic. All of us that have been to Alaska, been to Denali National Park, they want to see moose, they want to see grizzly bear, they want to see wolves. I have seen all of those animals, but over multiples of trips. I had to go many, many times to see all of the Big Five in Alaska. That's probably not what our experience is going to be when we go to Kruger, and especially if you add Victoria, which is another safari type of experience. So it's kind of a joke. The Big Five are guaranteed, almost. It's not a zoo, but it is really, really, really the best opportunity that you can have to do something like this. Next slide. We've talked about the amenities. I love the middle picture, by the way, Matthew. It reflects on the lodge so well. You know, I know in what you do, but it just her face under your brand name. It's a very warm, intimate picture. I keep talking about intimacy. It's very intimate. Next picture, the next slide rather. The rooms, a bit more in terms of seeing the rooms. A bathroom. These are not latrines. They're not. It's not like going to a fair in the United States. These are very comfortable, earthy accommodations. Next slide. The dining is, as I've said, we have high hopes. Great weather. And to eat outdoors. It's an experience that we all know in Florida because we eat outdoors so much. To do it in the bush is very special. Love the upper right picture again too. Slide. Yeah. I've told you about the air transfers are included. You do not need to worry about what flight you book as it relates to us. The travel club is going to get you. And so you'll be transferred on your arrival at Johannesburg regardless, and departure from Cape Town regardless. It's of no consequence at all, and generally approximately a month in advance. The travel club will be asking for the final flight information for the administration of the trip. Next slide. Back to the question earlier on deposit. Reservation deposit. You can make your reservations while we were in this meeting. Before you move, David, this either on the QR code, if you go back, you can watch this presentation in YouTube at the Travel Club's YouTube page on demand whenever you would like. Many more people are going to watch this in YouTube than this live presentation. This is the booking link to the page, which is live. And David, if you could please go to the page now for the trip. Thank you. And if you wouldn't mind scrolling down. So this is the page on the trip, and just keep scrolling down to the bottom. It'll show you all of the details. This was on Kathy and Matthew joining us today. The socials. I'm sorry, go back up to that a moment. Very important feature of this trip. Once you are traveling on the trip, you're going to in the socials, and this brings this outlines what's going to happen with that. This, in my opinion, is really is just an outstanding component of the trip, because the entire point of what we will do over the coming year is for all of you to get to know each other, and that all of you know each other before you go to South Africa. Very unique approach. I've escorted for many companies. I don't see this at all. Big companies, some very big companies. And it's just not something that they do. Until you get on the trip, they're not doing anything with the trip. That's not this situation at all. So you will be able to do that in the Villages area or in YouTube over the course of preparation up till our departure for South Africa. David, if you could continue now to scroll down.
To this next point, to Mr. Reed's point, all of our trips you do have to be a member to travel on. Many of you are probably already have 2026 memberships. You do have to be a member at time of booking, so as long as you have your 2026 membership, you can book now.
That's right. Exactly. Continue to scroll down. On the page, it outlines the highlights, talks about Kruger, lots of detail about the reserve where Shiduli is located. Continue down. The individual features of the trip, the video of Matthew's Lodges is what this video is. Keep scrolling. More images of Johannesburg and Cape Town that you can see in terms of howing. This is not third worldish by any stretch of the imagination. We have misconception about big chunks of Africa, and especially South Africa. And so that's why these pictures are here. Continue down. Keep going, please. Just more pictures about the experience, the lodge, more on Shiduli, more detail, lots of detail on Shiduli, weather notes about what you can expect on temperatures during this exact travel time period, then the day-by-day itinerary. Much more detail here, if you'll continue to scroll down. Of each of the days. Stop there, right there. On day 8, you see in the red, this is very important. Game drive number 8. Staying and unpacking one time. That's very important. And a unique feature that Kruger can deliver, Kathy can deliver, and Matthew at Shiduli can deliver that is difficult. For me, it is just a thrilling feature of this trip. Continue to scroll down. More of the itinerary map, and then the rate summary, double, single, triple, the 4-star upgrade. And I just remind everybody, the Travel Club has incorporated this $199 upgrade to 4-star. That's not per night, that's for the entire stay. And so 4-star in Joburg and in Cape Town, and then they change to all-inclusive at Shiduli Lodge. And that brings us to the bottom, David?
Yeah.
Insurance information, etc. Now, if you could go back to the top. While we've been having this meeting, the reservation link has finally opened. So you can click here to make reservations. I've already received 4 private messages, text of people that are participating in this meeting. This trip is limited to 20 guests, is what we are planning for. That's what the travel club is working with. So reservations are open now, and you can review this material and you can make reservations now, and that came live while this meeting was going on, just announced. Okay, so that's kind of our summary. Let's go back to, did I miss anything, David, that you had? If we could go back to the presentational slides. Does anybody have any questions? Could be done verbally. Yeah, we're at the end of the presentation. Verbally, or it can be typed. And David and Shubham will help us with anything that perhaps I didn't cover or Matthew didn't cover.
And
or
if you are watching this on YouTube after the live time, make sure to call us, or you can email any questions to info@happening.travel.
Exactly. All right.
Can you please put the link QR code back up?
There we are.
I've also put it in the chat here in the meeting as well, so you can just click it in the chat.
And for everyone, the easiest thing is to just go to their the travel club's website. Happening.travel is the travel club site, and there's you can just search by and just click on Africa, and this trip will go right up.
Hey, David, can you hear me? It's Fred.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
A question about Victoria. We've already signed up, as Wayne and Marcy have as well. So we're going. When will you know if you're going to put together a pre-package to Victoria Falls?
Oh, I've had enough people ask for it that's pretty much a sure thing. I'm just going to have to look at pricing and logistics for that, because
Okay.
multiple people have been interested in that. It'll just take me a few weeks to figure out the logistics.
Okay, great. So we'll just stay tuned on that. But we're definitely going.
And
both.
by the way, Victoria Falls as a pre-stay works out
Right.
very well.
Sure.
And the reason it works out very well is flying into Johannesburg and staying one night, and then flying on to Victoria Falls really helps break the flight, the travel day. So
Yeah, you did that with Iguazu, and that was great. And there's 2 sides to it, like U.S. and Canada, and it was in Iguazu. Are you going to try to get us to both sides, Zimbabwe and the?
Kathy's the expert. I've
Okay.
been to Victoria Falls also, but Kathy, you're the expert on that question. What's your thought
Okay.
about Victoria?
Basically, at that time of the year,
It's dry, yeah, it's slow.
The Zimbabwe side of the falls always has water, so that is the side we generally recommend
Okay.
at that time of the year. There's always water on the Zimbabwe side of the falls, and there's also more choice of accommodations on the Zimbabwe side of the falls.
Okay.
And it works really well. It's just an hour flight, so it works really, really well with hinging on to Johannesburg. And if you had to do it the other way around, if you ended with Victoria Falls, there are actually also direct flights from Cape Town to Victoria Falls on certain days of the week. So
Yeah.
it may work as a pre or post to it.
Yeah, we like the pre as well. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Okay. Sorry, Al, can I ask you something?
Sure.
I'm going to have to go soon because I've got to go and fetch my daughter because it's actually evening now. So
Right.
if anyone's got any specific questions pertaining to the Kruger, if you want to ask me now.
Yeah.
Again, maybe your track record on safety. I saw some YouTube videos where an elephant actually picked up a bus. I saw one where a jaguar jumped on the top of a covered Jeep. I mean, I know animals are wild. I know it's safe, but if you get some irritated one or some with babies or something, still know you have a very good safety record with regard to those open Jeeps.
Fred,
First of all,
wait,
those videos you've
wait one
seen
second.
are people who are not in the Kruger, and
Mhm.
generally, it's often if they get too close to elephants, and the rangers know if an elephant has got babies with them not to get too close. So a lot of
Okay.
those YouTube videos, you can't just generalize into South Africa. Some of them have happened elsewhere.
Okay.
And I want to take that a step farther. Chances are, I'm not familiar with the video that you're talking about, but chances are very high it's in Kenya. And and the number of volumes of people that are traveling together in Kenya while doing that have created situations that have had those kind of encounters. So
as Matthew said on the safaris in Kruger, you're only getting 2 vehicles at a time. I used to work at Animal Kingdom in the Africa section, funny enough. And there are times when even in the safari ride, they have to pull animals out of the savannah because they get stressed by all the vehicles going through there. So in the wild, where there's not people taking care of the animals to remove them from a situation stressful, they're trying to get away from that situation the best they can. And with the smaller, intimate setting in Shaduli and with the safaris there, it's not a concern like it is.
For Kathy's,
You must also realize that we in their environment, so the rangers are very cognizant of that, and it's a privilege to be in their environment. So we don't encroach on the environment, and if an animal is looking uncomfortable, the ranger will back off. It's their environment.
Thank you. One last question. Mosquitoes. I'm the guy who attracts mosquitoes. Do you? Is that a problem?
First of all, it's winter here in South Africa, so it's not peak malaria season in the first place, and where Shaduli is, it's not a high risk malaria area at all. People live there and they don't take malaria tablets. I don't think I've ever taken a malaria tablet in my life when I've gone to the Kruger.
I'm not worried about malaria. I'm just worried about being eaten alive.
No, look, it's not hot, so there's not as many mosquitoes, and also at night you got mosquito nets in your room. Okay. You give it a quick spray. You just wear sort of long, lightweight sleeve clothing in the evening, but it's not a big issue, no.
Okay.
It's like winter in Florida. There's going to be some, but it's not like the summer rainy season.
No, it's not like summer. I promise you won't be inundated by mosquitoes, by no means.
Matthew, you were going to add on that?
So yeah, guys, all of the rooms are fully air conditioned. Mosquitoes hate the cold. So if you just put them on, before you come on drive, you come back, the mozzie nets are up. So with that and the spray, the fact that it's winter, there's very little water around. The mozzies obviously breed in the water and the puddles. I can assure you, it's not going to be a problem.
No, it's not.
Other questions for Kathy, Matthew?
I don't think it's for them, but does the travel help find the best spots?
Sorry, I couldn't hear that.
No, we don't. I recommend for flights using a comparison source. I personally use Google Flights to compare different airlines and flight times. You can also use Kayak, K-A-Y-A-K. That's a great comparison source. And both of them you can sign up for alerts. So if better deals come up, they'll email you when the prices drop.
And in just a minute, we can help more in terms of specific things about the flight.
Yeah.
I want to help Kathy and Matthew. Anything else specific about the safari travel experience? Because I'm going to let them go, and then we're still we have a little more information we can give you.
Sorry, guys, it's just evening here. So
No, I've seen the lights go out outside your window.
Oh yeah, it's all dark now. Can you see?
Anybody have anything else for Kathy and Matthew?
Thank you.
I have a power wheelchair. I can walk maybe 75 feet. But it's collapsible. It folds down like 10 inches high. Is there a problem with that, or can I bring it on?
That's fine. Actually, I mean, like as I say, you're not going on long walks or anything. So if you need assistance getting into the game drive vehicle, absolutely fine. We make everyone at the lodge will be made aware of everybody's limitations or medical conditions or dietary requirements, and it will be accounted for, and we will look after you.
Yeah,
okay.
I tell people on our trips, the Americans with Disabilities Act does not exist around the world, but we're taking you places. You're not in the third world. You're at a nice resort. They're used to people of all different mobility levels, so they will be able to assist, and it'll be accessible.
No, you'll be looked after. Don't worry.
Yeah, no issue. Anything else for Matthew or Kathy? Well, Kathy, Matthew, I want to thank you very much. It's been very informative. You've helped all of us understand what an experience in coming to Africa and South Africa is all about, and we can't wait to meet both of you.
Yes, and
So
you
just-
will fall in love. You will fall in love with South Africa. I promise you, and you will be back.
Thank you.
Thank you both for joining.
Thank
Anyway, have a
you.
good day, everyone. I'm sorry we have to leave, but we've got kids to fetch, and
Yeah.
No, it's understood. And
Cheers,
guys. Bye.
Thank you.
have a good day, everyone. Okay.
Bye-bye.
Okay.
So
Bye.
we
Bye.
have any to wrap up. Any other specific questions that David can help or I can help with?
Yeah. So you do think that the first social will be in August? Because I know we're traveling in September, so August is good. But you think you're targeting August for the first social?
Yeah.
Okay,
for sure.
that's great. That's great.
For sure.
If you get a date out, I know it's hard, but the sooner you get a date out, the better. But we understand.
Yeah, we're and I'm making sure to we have lots of trips and Al escorts a lot of them, so we're keeping an eye on the calendar and making sure dates will work out for everyone, and they'll we try and keep them midweek so they're easy for people when they're not busy with weekend plans and as Al said, we're working at the logistics right now to be able to stream the socials on YouTube as well. Not a meeting like this, but at least on YouTube, so you'll be able to watch and get any information, and even chat to a degree possibly beforehand if you can't make the meeting itself.
Yeah. So do you anticipate you're going to fill up with 20? I would imagine you are. I mean, you already got at least four of us.
I imagine we're gonna be full. Probably very soon.
Yeah. Okay. And those socials will be 20 of us plus.
Only the only way to participate in the social is if you're a booked member.
Yeah.
It's
If you're booked
not
on the trip, it's not going to be
Yeah.
social. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not a
Okay.
meeting to promote the trip. It's only for those travelers.
Our deposits
Great,
are
perfect.
non-refundable, Bruce, and that is because we have such limited seating. We really can't put ourselves in a situation where somebody's holding a room and then just decides not to go, because this is such. We're a very small team here. It's me, Shubham, and like two other people doing all the logistics, and so.
And it's also a requirement of the lodge.
Yeah, and the lodge and and for Kathy, like they all need their deposits, and it's very difficult with a tight limit on people to be able to do refundable deposits.
Any other questions that I can help with?
Sue, I see you raised your hand.
Yes. One, I would like to be included on this. And I have a partner, Lisa Kenna. We both would be included. Okay. So that's two, I asked you, and I'm sorry, I didn't get the answer about airfare.
Helping.
Do you help us find airfare?
No. Like I said, I don't like to be involved in the airfare for you, because if something happens, as a travel agent, if something happens to your flight, I'm the only one who can fix it. Which can put you in a terrible situation because I'm not Expedia, I'm me, and I have limited hours in the day. Like I said, I do recommend using Google Flights, which is who I personally use, or Kayak, which is Kayak. And also, if you have airline points with any of the airlines, definitely check with them first. Many of the airlines have partnerships internationally, and you can use those points to travel. So I can give you advice, but I don't like to get involved in the airfare, because then if a flight changes or something, I'm the one who can fix it, and if it's the middle of the night, that can be very difficult for me to help you with, and you may end up stuck.
So if I can also wait one sec. If I could
No,
also
go ahead.
if I could also add to that, I wouldn't, to be honest with you, this being May of 2026, I wouldn't even think about air yet.
Right.
It's just far too early. We don't know. The reason I mentioned South African Airways, we don't know what SAA is going to do. I have high hopes that SAA will be available to us for August of 2027, but it's just too early. You can't look at air actual schedules until 330 days prior to it.
Right.
When we start, it's interesting. Fred made the comment about the first social, and by the way, I have an eye of the needle to plan also, because I'm doing a large group to Scandinavia and the Arctic in August, so it'll be before I leave for that. when we start the social for all of the members that are traveling to Africa in August, that will be one of the things that we start to target and talk about. But you won't be able to book your air in August yet. But I haven't spent any time to do it yet. But once we start to get together, Africa is, Johannesburg, Cape Town is more complicated, obviously, than Paris or London. So as a result, by the time we get to the first social in August, I will have started to refine very good recommendations to start to look at. And the recommendations for airfare are even a bit more complicated than you're even thinking right now. It's not a question of looking at what are the best flights. It's looking at what are the best flights for what you would want to do. And that means, do you want to stop somewhere going? Do you want to stop somewhere coming back? And some air carriers have programs that will allow you to do a free stop, for example. I'm not completely conversational at this moment in being able to say that for Johannesburg and Cape Town, but by the time we get to August, I will be. So I will be able to help you on air. And just for your own peace of mind, I wouldn't give your air another thought until that first social.
Plus, we don't know about Victoria Falls yet. That would change the picture.
Yeah, exactly. And some of you, and we're dealing with the situation. We're dealing with the situation in the Middle East, but Qatar and UAE is going to come back into the picture. And by August of 2027, it's going to be completely back in the picture. And Dubai may be a great choice for some people. And, Amsterdam might be a great choice because of KLM for some people. So by the time we get there, Sue, I assure you, we will be able to help you and really good advice on lots of choices for you to look at on air and help you be able to see the best place to go about doing that.
Yeah,
I just want to assure you that we won't forget you on that.
I know I've spoken to some of you, like even Cindy. Sometimes when you're going that far across the world, the layover becomes part of the vacation instead of just being stuck in an airport. There are great city, Istanbul for Turkish Air. I love that city. There's so many good options. So instead of sitting in the airport for 6 hours, make it a 2-day layover and enjoy yourself and extend your vacation.
That's right.
Sounds good.
I have a question.
Yes, Zachary.
I have a question. At the current time, I only know of myself going. Obviously, the single supplement is beyond my budget, but how do I make a reservation if I don't know who my partner will be?
If you book a single supplement, we can add the second passenger later.
Okay.
It's because we'll already have a room reserved for you at that point.
Okay.
So it's just a matter of adding the person to your room.
So
and then reducing the price.
Being very specific, Michelle, your deposit that you do is for a single is the same as it is per person on a double.
Yes.
So just make your reservation, and then any time between your booking date and your final payment, you just change it and you add whoever. So you have more than a year to do that.
Okay, very good.
Your single booking to a double.
Very good. That's what I needed to know. Thank you very much.
Yep.
Did you say this was limited to 20 people?
20.
Yes. There's as Matthew mentioned, there's only about 30 rooms at the lodge, and the transportation options are limited as well. So this is a very limited trip.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
How many people have you signed up so far? I know four of us. How many total are signed up?
Wait, I know that because I asked right before. There's already 10.
Yeah.
In the last 25 minutes, it moved from that number to 10. So
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm watching. Yeah.
That's fun.
I see several dings on new booking forms have come in during the meeting. So yeah.
All right. Other questions that I can help with?
Al, are you doing the Polar Express in August?
I am. I'm the escort.
Is there room left on that trip?
I think there's 4 seats. I have just come back from Tulip Festival, right before I left, there were 4 seats. David, do you know off the top of your head? Or?
I don't know. I'd have to check.
Yeah, if you just send a message about it, or just do the reservation. If not, they'll tell you I'm sorry it's full. But I believe the answer is yes, you can do it.
Okay,
Yeah,
thank
generally
you.
speaking, if you fill out any of our booking forms, if we fill up, we'll just let you know you're on the wait list, and that way, if somebody cancels, we can get you right in. But that way, at least you've held your spot on the wait list, so it's good to do it that way.
Yeah. Those trains, by the way, that's just incredible. But I'm excited. I love to be excited still and travel, so it's great.
I wonder if you could. I'm looking on the website now, and I'm sure I'm scrolling past it. But can you give me what the total price of the trip is?
It's $39.99.
Yeah, $39.99 per person, plus the
And then
$39.
Yeah,
then you have 2 options.
Yeah.
The 4-star upgrade, which is $199.
Right.
Highly recommend. And if you want the travel club to handle your air from Johannesburg, air and transfers from Johannesburg to Cape Town, that's $149.
149. Okay.
And we're offering the 3-star hotel because some people just want that option. But
No,
honestly, the $199 is made up for just in the lunches and dinners at Shiduli Lodge.
Okay. All right. Very good. Very good. Thank you so much. Thank you for
Thank you.
answering that, so I didn't have to keep scrolling.
and that top part about today's meeting will be removed to make it a little bit easier to manage that web page. That was just it was in its preview state before the trip went live, which was today.
Yeah. Okay. Any other questions? And
No, just it was very nice, very informative. Thank you.
yeah, to be able to have somebody from Kruger and in Johannesburg and Cape Town to come in, and it really gives it a nice first-hand perspective. I was very happy to do this with him. All right. Well, David, thank you very much. It was nice.
I got a quick question.
Oh,
Sure
sure.
thing. How can we help you, Doug?
Okay, so we were on your March and April, Vietnam, Cambodia, and Thailand, and especially my wife and I, we really were excited about taking a trip with Happening Travel Club, hoping that we could do more. And I'm very interested in this safari trip.
And for your documentation that's sent, I apologize I haven't gotten back to you on that. I was working on the launch of this, and as I said, we're a small team, but I should have that all resolved for you this week.
I appreciate that. Yeah, it's just been a little frustrating not to hear anything, and when we did, to hear that operations is looking at it, and then the next week operations is looking at it. So, David, I appreciate that. I look forward to you contacting us, okay?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions that I can help with? All right. Well, thank you, everybody, and I hope to see you in Africa. I hope you join us.
Good job. Thank you.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.